Hi, in this short video I'm going to show you how to create and record careers interactions and activities and then upload them to Compass Plus. We do all this in Morrisby in the tracker part, so we'll go to tracker on the main menu, and here you'll see all the activities that are in our system. You'll notice that there are a bunch of ready-made activities complete with resources and presentations and lesson plans, and you can also create your own using the Create Activity Wizard. All of these activities can be added into a careers plan, and we can download the plan as a document which looks like this. And this includes things like summaries of programs, entitlement statements, and an overall map of all the careers activities that you're taking part in. So back to the tracker part, I'm going to create a new activity. So I'll start the wizard. Here we give the topic a title, a description, and a type. This particular activity will be optional for my students, so I can decide which students in which year groups can have visibility of that particular activity. I'm also going to include it in my careers plan for my year 13s in the autumn term. Moving on with the wizard, we can now decide when this activity is finished. I'm going to get the students to certify that they've completed this, but there's a variety of other ways of doing it. And I'm going to ask the student for some feedback once they've done it, because there is a feedback loop within the overall system. Next, I'm going to add the specific resources for this activity. In this particular one, I'm just going to add the URL for the MOOC that the students are going to be taking. And finally, I'm going to add a picture just to make it more interesting and visually appealing for the students. Next, I can assign Gatsby benchmarks to this particular activity, and you'll notice we have the full Compass Plus vocabulary in here. So in this particular one, we're looking at ready for work activities with employers with this particular LinkedIn MOOC. You can also add skills. We have the complete skills builder framework in here, including all the different levels. And finally, we'll then save this activity and assign it to students. And we can assign it to an individual student, or more likely, in this particular case, because it's optional, we're going to assign it to the Year 13 group. And I can either invite them automatically, or they can just see it as an activity that they can select in their feed. I'm going to invite them all. So that's the process of creating an activity. Let's just look at the student experience. Here is Max. He's one of the students in this particular class, and you can see his activity feed down here. Now you'll notice he's got 2 or 3 activities that he's been asked to provide feedback on, so I'm just going to do that first. So we had a little workshop with Duncan Bannatyne. I thought it was fab. And we can send this feedback in on this activity. Activities can include forms. So for example, here's a destinations activity complete with a form that's embedded in. And here's the activity we made a bit earlier on LinkedIn, and that we then registered that particular student for in advance. Students can also log their own activities, for example, any work experience they've done or volunteering, and they have a simple form to do that. And they can also add evidence, photos, certificates, those sorts of things, as well as identifying the skills that they've taken part in. Now let's see at the manager side what we do next. So here are our activities. As you can see, any feedback will show up in the star ratings down here. And as an example of the sort of feedback that you can then get and then generate a document, here's an example with all the different student feedback automatically created onto a single page, ideal for quality and careers type evidence or Ofsted. Before we upload the activity data to Compass Plus, let's just first see the kind of information that you can see in the Morrisby system. So here's our student Max that was taking that activity, and if we could see on his individual profile, as well as the careers he's interested in and the subjects, we can see a timeline of all the activities he's taken part in. Also at the student end, we have a dedicated tab for looking at our provision against the Gatsby benchmarks. So this is completed activity, and as you can see in this particular school, we're obviously very weak on curriculum learning. Now, to export the data to Compass, we simply go to the activity we want to export, or we could do them all in one go. We select it, assign and review the students button, So at this point we can mark the activity as complete, and we can also then export the data for Compass Plus, which will then produce the spreadsheet that can then import to Compass.